Hello. So I'm going to give you a demonstration on how to use our macro package. It comes with 5 programs, 8000, 8001. These are the ones that you'll work with to create your engravings. There's 8900, 8901, and 8902. These are subprograms that actually do the work, tell the machine what to do. There's nothing in these 3 programs that you're going to ever edit. Unless you need to change file names, and we'll get into that later. Um, so we're going to create an engraving. So the first thing we want to do is we want to scroll to our program 8000 here, highlight that, push our options soft key, scroll over one page, and we want to see copy. So we're going to name our new program 3000. We're going to go ahead and hit copy, and you'll see that it placed program 3000 right there. And then we are going to go down to our 8001 program and highlight that. And we're going to name this next program 3001. And we're going to hit copy. And then we're going to scroll back up here to our program 3000. We're going to make this our main program. Then we'll go to the program. So here's what it looks like. The master, that program 8000, that's the master. It comes set up to do 6 engravings on a part. Right now it can be more, but for our demonstration we're only going to use 2 engravings. So we need to get rid of the rest of these engravings that we don't need. So we're going to scroll down here. You can see here's our first engraving. Here's our second engraving. We're going to scroll down here to our third engraving. Make sure we're in edit mode. We're going to go push our option soft key. And we're going to select. And then we're going to cursor down until we're below our 6th engraving. So you can see right there is our 6th engraving, the beginning of it. We're going to go to the bottom of it. And we're going to highlight that. And then we're going to push cut. Mine's going to take an extra minute or 2 to do this, just because of the software and stuff I got running right now in the background. So you can see those are gone. We are only left with the first engraving and second engraving. We're going to go ahead and make an engraving now. We're going to base it off of picture here. Let me resize this. Scooch this over. So we're going to do it off this picture. We're going to start with this date first. So first here we have angle of text. We can rotate this text around if we wanted to. We could go to 32 degrees, 90 degrees. We could flip it upside down at 180 degrees. But for this demonstration, we're going to be at 0. Our depth of engraving, we're going to do a 10th thou depth. Our font size, we're going to do 200. For our letter spacing here, we're going to do 50 thou. That's the spacing between letters. This alignment is, you're going to get in the documentation, you'll have a grid something similar to this. And I placed a 3 in there. So we are going to anchor our engraving on the right hand side here. On our Y coordinate, and it's going to be this bottom corner. And X will start right here too. This will allow the engraving to grow to the left. Since we have a hole right here, we don't want our engraving to grow this way. We want it to go this way. So you'll have that in your, this will be all in the documentation on exactly how to use this. But for right now, we're going to use an alignment of 3. For our position, I just want to bring this up. For our position, I'm going with, this is like a 3-inch block. So for our X position, for our date, we're going to do a 1.250 in our X. And we're going to do a negative 1.950. This is assuming that our XY0 is the dead center of this flat stock. So there's our first engraving. So we're going to do our second engraving. Our angle, we don't need an angle. Our depth of cut is 10 thou. Our font size is 200. Over here, our letter spacing is going to be 50 thou. We're going to use the alignment of 1 for this. Our X position is going to be negative 1.250. And our Y position is going to be negative 1.950. So that's it for the engraving. This just tells it how to do it, how to machine it, as you can tell. Here's our work coordinate. We don't need the work coordinate here if you're calling into this program from another program, like a subprogram. This can be taken out of here. That'll be in the documentation too. So our engraving feed rate for doing the engraving, we're going to change this to 10. And for the plunge rate into the metal, we're going to give this feed rate of 5. Our spindle is going to run at 5,000 RPM, and we're going to use tool 10. You can see a note here. Decimal points are always required with any number you put in here. And you can see the setup for this is XY is center of the part, and Z is the very top of the part. I also call out the list of macro range that I'm using, and I can change this to whatever range is available. We're going to be doing 800 for this one when it's packaged. And then this is where we start our machine stuff. We're just calling up work coordinate here, work offset. This is what we'd want to delete out of here. If we were not going to use a work coordinate here, specify one, we are going to use it from a different program. And you can see I do a Z0 return, and then we do a tool change onto that tool. Since my simulator doesn't have a tool change program in it, I need to comment this out. And then here we get into our details. All these variables here are in the documentation. It'll tell you exactly what the everything that's here is for, like the R value, the A value, S value. This will be all in the documentation. There's nothing you have to do here. The only thing we have to do here on this is our other program we called 3001. So we're going to change that to 3001. We're going to come to our second engraving and change that to 3001. Since we're only doing 2 engravings, we got to get rid of the rest of these here. So we're going to cursor there, push our select key. We're going to cursor down until we're underneath our 6th engraving. And we're going to cut that out of there. And then you can see over here on the side, I got a note in here. The B value over here. That's the subprogram that holds what to engrave. So whatever you call it, this has to be changed to that. This V number is the line number in this program that holds the engraving that we're going to do. So for our main program, we're done with this, creating this. We can go into our folder view. We can go to 3001 now, and we're going to put this in background edit. This here is another program, the other program that you got to edit. For this engraving, we're doing this date over here. So right here, this is for a letter. A is a letter. B is for a number. And C is for a special character. And D will be for sequential number if that we were doing a sequential number. But for our date, we don't need this letter A there. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to select, and we're going to cut that out of there. So now our first thing that's going to engrave is the day. One of the things we want to do with day is keep this 2-digit value. Since we can't store O3 in a macro variable, because O is basically a placeholder, we're going to add some padding to this. We're going to add an E value, and we're going to tell it 2. That'll tell it we always want to create 2 places, and if there's no value there, put a 0. We could put a 3 or 4 or 5, and it'll just put that many zeros before the number. And then here we got C2. C2 is the designation for the dash. And then for the month, here, we always want this to be a 2-digit also. So we're going to add E2 to this. And then we have our year. And this can be done, the formatting of this can be done anyway. We can do 2024, or we can do just 24. Whatever format is needed, we can make it do that. So for our second engraving, if we look at our picture here, it's a bunch of numbers with a letter in it. So what we want to do here is we want to do numbers. And what we're going to do here, since we have 2 groups of numbers, I need 2 lines for numbers. So we're going to come to this line with this B designation here with these numbers. And we're going to do select on this. And we're going to copy this line. And we're going to come back up here. And we're going to paste that line in right there. So now we have numbers first. And we'll go ahead and erase our masters. And the number is 551040. And then we have a B. And A2 is a B because A is 1, B is 2, C is 3. And then after that, we have the letter 9. We'll go ahead and put a 9 here. Make sure it's got the B there for the number. And then this, we don't need a special character here. So we'll just delete this line right out of there. Now we only need the 2 engravings. So now we're going to go ahead and hit our select key again. We're going to scroll all the way to the bottom of the 6th engraving. And we're going to cut that. And we've just created our engraving. We're done with that part. We'll get out of our background edit. We'll hit, make sure we'll hit reset here. And then we'll go to our graphs. And we want to go simulate. And we want to go toolpath. And then, just because I know, we're going to enlarge the screen. I think that's large enough. And then we're going to go back a screen, and then we're going to hit start. And we just created our engraving. As you can see, the month has 2 digits there, and our day has 2 digits. If we took that E out of there, this would only be a 7-1. So that's why we use that padding value. All right, we're gonna open up our back plotter. Now, I'm in an NC plot. We're going to go ahead and we're going to bring in that same file. Here, this is the same file. Yep, it's called 5000. But it's the same. It's going to be the same engraving. One of the things I have to do is because NC plot doesn't have system variables, I have to tell it a system variable. So we're going to edit, give it this a value. So the year is 2024 and the month is 07 and the day is 01. This is the format that Fanic kicks out for system variable 3011. We're going to put that in there. And then we're going to go ahead and hit our play button. The time on this is different than what it's actually going to be on a controller. This is going through NC plot, and I'm using the animated portion of it. So this actually takes a few minutes running it this way. But this will just give you a chance to see what it's reading through in the programs. Then here in a second, we're going to spit out our engraving. It's got the first engraving and it's locked in. Now it's going to the second engraving. That's accumulating all the data it needs. Just about ready to start engraving. And it would help if I'd have had that blowed up. And as you can see, it did our engraving that we wanted it to do. You can see where our XY0 is here. And you can see anchoring that alignment here with this 3. We anchored off the right side. So we come up here to our calculate measure. And we should be able to grab this 4. Uh-oh. Come here. Since I changed that. Let's measure that now. We'll go to our 0 point. Do our 0 point measure here to there. There we go. You can see our Y distance. Our Y is at our negative 195. And I believe if we capture, we can capture part of this O. It's a little off from that 1,250 that we had in our X, just because of that curves out a little bit there, and I can't grab the center of that arc. That's with the alignment there. Now if we come back over here and grab our measure, grab this point to that point, you can see our X distance. We are at the 250, and we're slightly off at our Y just because of where that curl comes up right there. If we were to grab the corner of that Y, or that 5, right here, Well, I was looking for Y. Yeah, our curve went up a little bit here, and that's why our Y was off a little bit. If we brought it back to the center of that arc, we'd be at our right number. And then if we take a look here, we'll calculate our measure, and we'll go from the center of this one to the top of this one. We can see our font is 200, which we specified right over here for our height. And then if we go back to our calculate measure, let's see what's a good spot here. Possibly this to that. And you can see that's our 50 thou spacing right there between letters. If you got any other questions, let me know. That's how easy it is to set up the engraving. Thanks for watching. Bye.